What's going on, y'all? It's CRASHprez.
And this is Defcee.
And this is 2/3 of defprez. You listening to the Cabbages Hip Hop Podcast. We be talking about movies and all kind of other shit. Tap in.
What Michael said.
Gary.
Yes, Jeff.
We back.
We back.
We are back, dogs. Cabbages has returned. We back. You got a taste of us at our highest. But now we are back to our lowest.
I gotta say, it's nice to be back in the zone of Rotten Tomatoes scores in the 20s.
I think this was
and lower.
Wildly overrated at 27.
27%.
I was shocked when it was that high. I thought for sure this was an 11. I had I put my whole life savings on 11 if I was allowed to.
As it turns out, we back.
Gary, we're back.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have heard some really good conversations about some really
inspiring
interesting films,
conversation.
like our Down with the King episode with AJ Suede. Like, we've talked about Crazy Rich Asians with Waleed. Like, we have gone into areas that talk about the breadth and depth of what rappers on screen can be. And today we bring you White Men Can't Jump. We back. And we'll be right back.
Oh no. Terrible.
I am excited to introduce our guests for today's show. Joining us now are Defcee and CRASHprez, respectively talented in their own right. The two Chicago-based rappers have joined forces under the moniker defprez. Produced by Knows the Time, their album It's Always a Time Like This dropped this past spring and is available wherever music is streamed or sold. Hello and welcome to you both.
What's going on, man?
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank
For
you.
real.
I love the record, and it was exciting when I first heard that you two were coming together. It was sort of like two worlds of people who I know in different kind of contexts. I've known, obviously, CRASHprez on the writing side as well as the music side. Defcee, you go back with Cabbages quite a bit. Took one of our earlier stuff, like I think in like year 2. So like, it's really great to kind of see people come together. And I always love when I see these collaborations happen and these projects happen. And this is a great execution of that. And so we thought, like, we need to find the right movie for you guys to have on the show.
Oh, you're so sick.
And we gave it a lot of thought.
We did.
And we decided this season we're doing what we call rapper movies. So it's rappers in front of the camera, behind the camera. We gave it a lot of thought, and we decided it's got to be 2023's White Men
Can't Jump.
Not even the OG, the new
one. No. There's no rappers in the OG. Kadeem Hardison's not a rapper.
Kadeem Hardison's not a rapper.
He's not a rapper.
That's very funny that you needed to clarify.
His name rhymed in a different world, but he's not a rapper.
Okay. Now I understand why you needed to make the distinction. But yeah.
Oh, you do?
I think when tell me if I'm wrong, Michael, but I think when the PR guy hit us and was like, yeah, they want you to talk about White Men Can't Jump 2023. I think my response verbatim was, they're fucked up for that.
No, literally verbatim. That is a quote. Direct
They're
quote.
fucked up for that's fucked up. They're fucked up for that. Which is, I mean, I respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cabbages is back.
So funny.
We're back, baby. Now everybody hates us again.
Live and direct.
You got to understand that, like, we spent like the first 4 seasons of this podcast watching mostly garbage. Just mostly like the worst things.
Total trash.
A whole season of Leprechaun movies. Like,
first of all, our first season was a whole season of Hubie Halloween,
which I think is a very good movie. Very good movie. So let's
not
slow
5
up on
times.
Slow up on that.
Shit. Wow.
But when we started this season, the idea was we wanted to explore this idea of rapper movies. This is the 50th anniversary year of hip hop, as every single corporation keeps telling me. And as a result, I thought, okay, well, let's get in on this. Let's cash in on this. And I think we've taken a very broad definition of rapper movie in this. Like we did Yasin Bey in Be Kind Rewind. We did an episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry you guys didn't get that one. What a delight.
Queen Latifah and Common in Just Right. We did Ice Cube and Ghost of Mars. Like, so we've explored a lot of these different areas, and sort of you've extended the idea of like what is a rapper movie, and then we get to I think we start with Jack Harlow. Obviously, it's a question of what is a rapper, and
More like Hack Jarlow, if you know what I mean.
So I really just wanted to start. There's so many different ways we could get into this.
Here you go, setting back interracial rap relations right now. Here you go.
You could have picked Gridlocked. Like Gridlocked.
Oh, Gridlocked is a beautiful movie.
Yeah, we're gonna do that at some point. It was discussed, but
it would have been nice if it were our episode, though. That's all I'm saying.
I understand.
We got Romeo Must Die, something like that.
No, that's not better, Michael. Romeo Must Die.
We actually, you couldn't have had Romeo Must Die because earlier this season we did Cradle to the Grave.
Well, yep,
okay,
can't do that. Can't do both. Yeah.
So we can't do both. So we had our episode, and that was our drag on episode.
I want to bring up the technicality here, and then we can move on to the movie itself. The technicality being that there was another rapper in Cradle to the Grave. To the Grave.
Yeah, I just said that.
Right. So we could do Romeo Must Die if we want.
No, we could. That is true. I guess. Okay. No, that's fair. We could, but we did White Men Can't Jump 2023 instead.
We did. How'd you guys like it? How was it? How'd you feel about it?
No. That you can't just jump right in. You can't jump with both feet in there. No.
I'm not about to incriminate myself. Y'all not about to fuck up my motherfucking moonlighting turn. When I get my side after let this motherfucker.
You loved this movie.
I'm about to get I loved it. Absolutely. I love everything King Ferris does. I'm about to when this strike is over, y'all niggas not playing with y'all not fucking my money up. It's not happening.
Don't do it.
No.
I love it so much, Michael. That is
I support any rapper making movies.
What Michael said.
I loved this film.
This is why you can't jump in 2 feet. This is why you start. So I want to.
All right.
I want to start with a basic
question.
I want to start with a basic. So I think that I always at the very beginning we kind of talk about these things. This is a basketball movie, ostensibly. Are you basketball fans? Is this something that you guys care about? Do you play? Do you enjoy watching it? Like, what's your history with the sport in your life?
I hate when niggas gamify rap like it's the exact same thing as sports. That's not why I don't really watch sports. I think I watched sports when I was younger to like play into like a typical masculinity thing. I went to Washington games when I was younger, like football, not basketball. I think I've been to like a Wizards game or two, but like, it was passive. I used to watch like Mike and Mike in the morning randomly. I think that was more an interest in like talk radio as opposed to.
That was kind of a pop culture phenomenon in a way.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like I would
like Sports Center was too.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, everybody finna watch Sports Center if you're not rocking with that shit. But like, nah, I think I just like music and just ended up gay. So like, no, I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Not like no gay people like sports. I just quote me on that.
Got you.
All right. So this is a Patreon episode now. Got it. Goes behind the paywall. We keep going.
Wow.
I will not quote you on that. So I
wait, I can't make that type of joke. Hold on. What kind of jokes can I make?
I love the joke. I'm all in.
I didn't say you couldn't make the joke.
No. You can make whatever jokes you want.
Now you gonna put me behind a paywall? What in this climate? You gonna put me behind a paywall?
No, there's no way this is going behind the paywall. There's not a chance in hell that this goes behind the paywall.
We've laughed more in this episode than we have in the last 5 already.
We've been giggling for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and I'm warming up.
This is all day. We haven't even started talking about the movie yet. All right, go ahead.
All right,
Adam likes sports. You tell him how you like sports.
I'm a basketball. Basketball is my So I like basketball. I grew up in the Chicagoland area in the 90s, which was pretty much like you had to be a basketball fan, even if you weren't necessarily a fan of the Bulls. Like for my waking life, I could not remember from the ages of 2 to 10 I could not remember life without a Bulls championship. Like I couldn't. Even the 18 months Mike took off, like I memory hold it. It was just one consistent championship run. And of course, like my dad was into it. And then I liked playing it, but like rec league, I couldn't really. I had like a Luke Longley skill set. It was like run to one end of the court, put your hands up in the air and stand as close to the basket as possible. All right, cool. What do I do on the other end of the court? The exact same thing. Stand right next to the basket and just be tall, because I'm 6'6", so I've always been tall.
And that's not when he's standing on his money, y'all. He's 6'6" default.
Oh wow!
I'm a lot shorter when I stand on my money. Yeah. So
that's a parable for this movie. Obviously, this is a movie about poverty in a lot of ways. So
I have two younger brothers who were both college basketball players. My brother Aaron played for Grinnell College and his teammate scored 138 points.
His teammate was Jack. I forget his Jack Taylor. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And my brother was the second highest scoring player on the team that game. He had like 13. But he tells people that he and Jack Taylor combined for over 150 points per game.
It's not wrong. That is wrong.
Excellent.
That's accuracy.
Excellent.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And then
that is how you do it.
And then my youngest brother played at Loyola Marymount University and then Long Beach State. So he played Division I ball. He went to the same prep school as Andre Drummond. He played ball with Luol Deng's younger brother.
Small Dang.
Yeah. He went to Israel to play ball for a few years, and then
he was a professional basketball player.
Yeah, and then played in the league as well. So Gabe, my brother Gabe, is a basketball player, and I love talking about it. I love watching it.
So you got a deep and rich history with the game.
Yeah. So the other thing too is my uncle. I'll tell this story real quick. So my mom's side of the family is from Detroit. And so we used to go to Pistons games all the time. So we were from like the end of the Grant Hill era, probably through the year or two after they won their most recent championship in like 03, 04. And so one of the games that we went to was the Malice at the Palace. Like we were.
You were there?
Yeah, we were there live. So we were like.
I was going to use that.
I was
going to use that as an example in this film for something I actually liked about the film. I didn't watch it live per se, but this was in the beginning of the ESPN break into like live sports news era.
Yeah.
And I watched all the aftermath and they played it like 1,000 times. I was addicted to that game.
So to make
I accidentally turned this TV on to that game when that happened. Because I had cable in my room.
It was kind of an unavoidable moment. People were pretty wild about having opinions on it too. It was very racialized. Nascent virality, if you will.
Yeah. And it was very racialized too, because from being there, first of all, Detroit racism, like white Detroit racism is its own viral strain of that. So you're in a stadium full of people saying the wildest, craziest possible stuff to these players all game. And I'm on the same side of the stadium as the scores table. We're 7 rows up from the floor. And after everything happens with like Artest and Wallace getting into their little shoving match, and Artest is laying on the table, and I'm down there like 7 rows. I'm in the aisle, 7 rows up from the floor. And then it was like a movie. All of a sudden, everything stopped. And this one cup of beer comes flying out of nowhere and bounces off of Ron Artest's chest. And then he just jumps into the stands and all hell breaks loose. It was like a trigger. It's popcorn flying, like bottles of pop, like bottles of soda, I guess.
Thank you. I needed the translation.
I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah. You guys are welcome. Oh, man, I feel like such a sellout doing that.
That's fucking wild. It is wild that you were there.
Yeah. So it was, and so my dad calls me back up to the aisle and pulls me right out of the aisle as the Haddad brothers run down to the floor to get stopped by Jermaine O'Neal. Like they were like there was a stampede to the floor.
I
Security
was at the time that this happened, and we probably should talk about the movie at some point. We're doing anything we can not to talk about this piece of shit.
This is great. This is great.
And I was at the time my dad and I got into a like heated, long standing argument about wrong and right in that scenario.
Yeah.
Where I was like, please tell me that your crazy temperamental ass would take a beer to the back.
Right.
And still not turn around and at least start some shit. Tell me that's going to happen. And he was like,
yeah.
I was like, what lines are we allowed to cross because they're rich?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You're mad because they get paid to play a game that you love. I can go ahead and reveal my dad was a basketball coach.
Okay.
And his daddy before him also coached basketball in a much more diminished capacity. My dad was a very good teacher of kids playing basketball. Pretty much anywhere you go to do that, you also have to teach.
Yeah.
I don't know that he really cared about that part very much. His obsession with teaching that game was beyond reproach. And he was pretty fucking good at it. And so I came up with like a really fundamental understanding of how the game worked, et cetera, et cetera. I wrote sports for a few years, including a basketball article about the Hornets.
Oh, wow.
Wait, are you the scriptwriter of the NBA? Like you make the storylines for the NBA?
I wish, man. Dude, we would be having a lot more fun. If I were writing the scripts, this would be a much different sport. But it's a deep history. My family generally is obsessed with the sport. And it's something, I'm an NBA junkie. Used to watch all of it. Any that was on TV, I'd find and watch it. But now I've limited myself to the pros because I want a life outside of sports. Being a sports writer it was so much sports.
Yeah, I can imagine. And especially, when you cover something like that, something you love like that, especially on the inside, it's also learn.
It's tough. I took it too personally too. I'm a baby. They like yelled at me when I wrote stuff, and I was like, I don't like it. They yelled at me. Nascent internet days. So we've established the connection. Gary is wearing a basketball hat, so obviously he's a huge basketball guy.
Of course.
He's wearing a Charlotte Hornets hat.
My experience with basketball is I've seen both Space Jam 1 and 2. And that's kind of it. Like, to me, when I was growing up, basketball gear was just something you wore. I would hang out on the court at school or whatever, or after school, but I was not by any sense.
It's an attraction for sure.
I wasn't athletic, but like, it was like, I had the gear and Hornets gear and the Looney Tunes with the backwards hats. And like, that's the stuff. That was my world. And I stand by it. And
so you've just always been cool.
I just always
incredible.
Been cool. Yeah,
incredible.
Not
remarkable life.
You better have a Bron jersey or a Mellow jersey when you're younger. If you're in my age group, like, you're just gonna have it because that's the dress for real.
Yeah.
It's just what.
And basketball shoes were culture for shoes.
Exactly.
They truly were. Like, running shoes came in a little later with the fashion trends, but fashion trends went through basketball.
So I guess, given that I have fairly limited experience with the sport, I don't watch professional basketball. I don't really know much of what's going on. There's names that I recognize, names I don't. But like, because this movie is so much involves street ball and also involves like people who wanted to be in the NBA. Is street ball as boring as this movie like lets on to be?
Oh God, it's way more boring.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, street ball is listen. Street ball is the absolute lowest common denominator of watching basketball. The rules are determined by the people on the teams that are playing the game.
Okay.
So half of your time out there, you're arguing about calls or kvetching about calls. And then the other half, unless you've played with some dudes a bunch of times, basketball is like very team. You really need to play with the same people a lot, unless they're just really good and it doesn't matter what you do. But like, if you play with the same group of people for a long time, you might score a lot, but you're going to watch a lot of dudes taking terrible jumpers, a lot of like bad pick and roll mishaps, turnovers. It can be a very ugly, and fouls, lots of fouls, because a lot of dudes don't call shit. And so it's a messy game. That said, I loved doing it. I loved going out and playing street ball. I did it a lot.
I love how one of the first like shots is Kamal telling bro like that this game, and niggas like it's win by 2. He said, "Not here, it ain't."
No, exactly. The truly minus the fact that like some of it was doctored, obviously, and I don't believe that these dudes could actually do some of these moves. But like generally, the play was entertaining.
Yeah,
I thought they did a good job. Like it was believable. It was modern. It wasn't just like dudes standing around with jump shots, close-ups of jump shots all the time. Like these dudes went out and played some ball. They did some exercise. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah. And thank you for translating complaining to kvetching for the Jew over here.
Oh, yeah, no problem. It's one of my favorite words.
That was very. I appreciated that. Thank you.
It's one of the New York words he learned when he moved up.
But it's
here.
truly like it is the word for that situation. You're not complaining. Complaining is like I don't like what's going on here, and I'm going to let you know. Kvetching is like I am not letting this go. We are solving this issue now, or you'll never hear the end of it.
Right.
Over squabbling.
Yeah.
I mean, but you could say that I would argue of like any event without the pageantry of like live whatever or officials or anything like that is going to look like that. To a degree. There's something pure about street ball that I really love.
Oh yeah.
And especially like some of the best competitive street ball changed how the game was played in the pros too. Like
totally agree.
There are so many legendary street ball players who, even if they never went to the NBA themselves, inspired generations of people like Kyrie Irving, Jamal Crawford.
Well, the thing is that there were the beginnings of basketball, especially, were such staunch rules.
Yeah.
That these dudes were like inventing new ways of using the ball because there was no cops around.
Right. Yeah. And
you know what I mean? So they could do whatever. So it looked cool and it sounded cool. And they could like say whatever the hell they wanted, which in competition gets real vicious immediately. Just immediately. And you can do nothing about it. They are going to say some wild, foul shit. And usually at the end, like a majority of the time, you're going to fist bump and then move to the next game.
Yeah. And
it's awesome. I gave my knees to street ball. I just gave them up. I was like, take them. I'll just do the surgeries, whatever.
So did Jack Harlow. Or Jack Harlow. They gave his character.
I've connected there.
Time out.
Nigga, how the fuck you said both your ACLs? He's trying to make the league. Nigga, ordered G League. Are you serious?
Look, I cannot let this slide.
Yes, let's go.
Slide. First of all, my brother who played at Grinnell, he tore his ligaments. It was like 2 minutes left in his senior night game. He goes up for a rebound, comes down, tears almost all the ligaments in his right knee. Right?
Yeah, same.
Ligaments do not make a crunching sound when you hurt them. A. B. There's no way that he's dunking the ball, climbing up the backboard, and then landing like that without aggravating that injury in the same way that he did by just making a layup.
It was a lazy writer's call.
Yes.
To just be like, call it ACLs because that's scary to people.
Yes.
But it's scary because you can't play without it. You can't just be like, I don't have either ACL and I'm out here like crossing dudes up and pushing off and just like jamming the two hands.
And he was just standing back up and the scene would just continue. He would walk out of the gym normally. Like, was the boo-boo used to did that? Like, it don't make sense.
And the thing about those tears is they limit the amount of lateral movement that you can do.
Which is like, all basketball is.
It's all street ball. Like how many, like you have to dribble around the arc before you can even think about driving to the hoop. And then you have to be evasive and moving around. Like it just doesn't make, that was the thing about the basketball in the movie. In addition to the fact that like Jack Harlow does not strike me as anybody's idea of a basketball player or talented basketball player.
His co-star, however,
that
looked like a basketball player. I was like, that dude would definitely be a pro that if something bad happened, they would not take a chance on. He had like a big frame, but he was a tweener kind of for the NBA anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he's like 37 or 38 in real life. He's playing 27 in the movie like effortlessly. That really fucked my head up. I had the homie like,
Nuh-uh.
when I just reran it. Yes, no, look, Google it because like I had him
Dude.
look up the credits. And I'm
He's
like, he was
older
on
than
Friday
me.
Night Lights, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how old is he?
Yep.
What? Like,
Where are these trainers? You were not like a star. How are you? This is incredible.
He's played
What is
athletes
that?
before.
you've been getting
Yeah.
money for like 15 to 20 years at this point.
Yep.
Damn.
Are
Yeah.
you questioning the casting of a movie directed by Calmatic, also known for directing the House Party remake that came out earlier this year?
I refuse to say anything negative about anybody associated with Vince Staples. I cannot. Staples is a much meaner person than I am. And I am going to get roasted within a centimeter of my life if I say anything negative. My issues were the editing.
Okay. All right.
Make me.
and the script.
Let's do it.
The script.
Oh yeah.
It was like somebody.
man.
I looked at my notes. It was like somebody entered into an AI. Write me a screenplay.
Right.
Gary said the same shit.
Like a Twitter thread.
This was a Chat GPT script.
That's half
Yo.
of these fucking movies, especially when you rebooting properties. Niggas is not going to write nothing no more. It's getting really boring out this motherfucker, man. Can I tell my Vince Staples story right quick?
If you want to.
Yeah, please.
Hold on.
Apparently
Shout out Vince Staples, great rapper.
Shout
I have
out
nothing
Vince Staples.
negative to say about you or anybody associated with you, Vince Staples.
I'm going to talk about how I wronged you. I opened for Vince Staples Summertime 06 tour. It was Madison, so I'm pretty sure it was 2015, like the end of 2015. And, you know, like talked to him briefly or whatever. I was like really like fanned out. I'm not gonna lie, because like I was fucking with Vince since like Sean Coltrane 1. So I like asked him in the green room if he could play 102, and he said he like just didn't have the beat because like it's probably like a really old file, but he's like said he appreciated it or whatever. After the show's over, he asked like, where do we get food at? And I was like, the only thing you can really get is Wings Over Madison. Wings Over is like a chain, like I don't know if it's just Midwestern, but it's like one in Milwaukee, one in Madison. It tends to be around like a college campus. It's just regular, like not remarkable wings. But I get mine. I go to the homie house like after shit's over with, and I mean my Wings Over, and we go on Twitter, and he's like at war with Wings Over Madison because somebody was talking shit on the phone. And he's like adding them, threatening to pull up and talk shit to the niggas at work in the lobby of Wings Over Madison, and like getting people to call and blow their phone number up and shit. Then he goes on Snapchat talking shit about Wings Over Madison. I think he was out of the delivery radius where the hotel was at, but I literally single-handedly set that shit off. So
wow,
I'm not gonna buy you wings. You richer than me, but hopefully we can get wings again one day at some point under better circumstances. Not there, not in Madison, Wisconsin. My fault.
So that reminds me, Vince shouted my brother out on Twitter once because my brother played for Long Beach State. So Vince had said something about my brother, like my brother had gotten a dunk in the game, and he had said something about my brother. And then there was another game where I think the other team was doing pretty well, and my brother tweeted something about like they got to stop treating my boy Gabe like that or something like that. So yeah, I forgot I had a Vince Staples story until you told yours.
I do not have a Vince Staples story,
Yours
but I
is a
will
lot
say
more
this: if it means we don't have to talk about other performances in this movie, I can talk about Vince Staples' performance all day because it was funny.
Defprez LP2 need the Vince Staples feature. I'm gonna call it now. Give us like 2 to 3 years.
We're looking forward to that.
Also, Vince should have been the lead. Sorry to cut you off. Vince
that's what I'm driving at,
Vince
is
should
that
have been
he
the lead.
was very good, and like that's not true of all the people in this film.
Shout out to Mildred. You feel me?
Mildred, I know,
supporting black business.
She showed up all right at the end. Renzo talked a lot of shit, but at the end of the day,
he did.
But Renzo and Speedy, like as you know, when a movie that's built as a comedy requires comic relief, you know there's a problem, and that's what they were there for, to provide the fast, rapid fire comic relief. And the truth is that in the original, Wesley Snipes and Kadeem Hardison played that role.
Yeah,
it was one guy riffing with Wesley Snipes who had amazing lines in it. And I'm going to say, for full disclosure, I watched the 2023 version of this movie for the first time, and immediately afterwards watched the 1992 movie for the first time.
Same exact thing. I was like,
I need to go back and understand what they were trying to do. And
I may have seen the original at least 50 times.
Okay.
My dad and I watched that movie a lot of times.
So good.
It's excellent.
No,
I really truly like that movie.
It was an R-rated movie in 1992. I was not allowed to go to see it in the theater.
Fair
I
enough.
wasn't alive.
So you weren't alive, so it's not even an issue. Theirs is just a video store. Go to.
Did everybody see it? But has everybody seen it at this point or no?
Not in a long time, but I
Yeah.
have seen the jump.
Okay,
Yeah.
And
so we've
Jack
all
is
seen it.
no Billy Hoyle. I'll tell you that.
No,
I'll
no
tell
Billy
you,
Ho
man.
at all.
And that was the thing.
Woody Harrelson was
like,
an excellent
You
choice
had-
for that role.
right. You had two leads who were so charismatic, just
Yes.
incredible charisma and chemistry. And
Yeah.
you just did not have any of that in this movie.
There were
No,
multiple
really.
dimensions to
No.
the acting. That's
No.
really the huge difference.
Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes were so good in the original movie that they let them make Money Train.
Real.
That's how good they were.
That's
That's
true.
how good they were.
Money Train.
Train.
Wow.
That's funny.
An
This is where me
ignominious
and-
reunion.
This is where me and Adam diverse. I think Jack did pretty good, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he did all right. I wasn't mad at it. I don't feel like he was really playing himself, but I think like one of the funnier moments to me is like the first time he meets like the trainer dude. He talks about like half the comments being hater shit, but just white ballers who can't ball. Like the one white guy's got a spot. And you're saying that's like the great white hope of rap right now. I thought that shit was hilarious. I also feel like there's like a really weird thing where Jack is sort of playing like his puppet persona to where he really toys with him dipping in and out of like the racial line a lot, to where it's like this is the same nigga who put like a black or brown woman's leg on his album cover. He's making like sexual homoerotic jokes. I feel like most people, we play basketball, especially or into music, you know, like one white dude like that. He's not really the homie. He just kind of like is in niggas conversations when he's not supposed to be type shit. Like it was very intriguing to me the way he was playing that shit off. He was getting a lot of racialized shit off, which goes back to the Twitter script thing. But like, nigga, like if he had to be DL or something, that would have been more interesting. Like he's gonna keep making the like dick print jokes. Come on, twin. Come on, twin.
If you play basketball, you are privy to conversations that aren't polite society conversations. When you share locker rooms with dudes, it's wild, the shit that you hear from people. The things that people say. And I thought none of the fun parts of that came out in the dialogue at all. It was really, for the first 35, 40 minutes, it was truly, did you know that one of us was black and one of us was white? Have you noticed that? And that like basketball makes harmony between us. Do you understand?
The OG did not do that shit that much at all.
No.
It was not that extra.
No, it was part of the jokes. It was part of the like peanut gallery. But in the game, they talk shit to each other about the game, basically.
Yeah. It was more authentic. Like that kind of interaction and those kinds of conversations felt a lot more authentic in the first one than in this one. Like in this one, there was so much expository dialogue in this one too. Like it felt like they tried to fit 300 minutes of plot into like an hour 40 of screen time.
Yeah. And I got pretty tired of Jack Harlow explaining to me peace techniques. Like, I got it. Yes, you are like a centered dude who also is like ruining his life. Yes. Like, I just didn't want to hear it anymore about meditation is not going to make you a white guy, like shit like that. I was like, why?
I'm just saying the way they handle race in this film, and they do it, is with the mentality of a sitcom writer. And it's, of course, Kenya Barris, this is a sitcom writer's script. You're dealing with it in that sort of like, how do we convey this in the most broad, easily digestible terms? And it's an overkill of that. When you go back to the original, they are obviously discussing race, but it's such a clearer film about poverty and about what it's like to be broke in America.
Right.
Than it is about you're black and I'm white. There are those issues there. It's also, there's some casting in that film that also helps with these situations. Woody Harrelson obviously has Rosie Perez as his girlfriend in the first movie, which is like, you know, huge difference. Like it's a huge difference.
A phenomenal performance, wild and free.
And is also given a character, is actually given a character that has some depth to it. Neither part. And I was rooting for Teyana Taylor in this, obviously.
Teyana Taylor be kicking ass, bro. Great. Literally.
Just for the record, I thought Teyana Taylor, Laura Harrier, Lance Reddick, rest in peace. Lance Reddick, by the way, phenomenal actor, like an amazing career.
Legend.
There were and Vince Staples and Miles Bullock, like they were doing their absolute best, like 100% capabilities to prop this movie up. And I think it was disappointing to me, because then you deny people who are really capable of turning in performances like that the opportunity to really showcase their skills, because the script doesn't hold the performances up in the ways that it should.
Yeah.
Also, why was VTX moving like the fucking LAPD? Every time he said that acronym out of his mouth in public, it made it back to corporate. Like, y'all niggas the feds, bro. Literally.
Yeah. I get what they were trying to do with that in terms of how these viral moments exist.
And he did have a little bit of fame and clout, so it wouldn't be crazy for that to like catch on and be viral, I guess. But I didn't know what to do with that entire character. So Kamal is a very calm person, then all of a sudden hits people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a literal switch that flips in scenes where you're like, there's no build up to this. There's nothing. You just like, you mention his dad and he punches you.
Yeah, you could have literally put the school fight in the first 5 minutes.
Just actually show us the scene.
It would have made way more sense.
Why did we have to wait until Act 2 before we saw what actually was the thing that took him out of contention? Why do we have to wait for all that flashback? We knew something happened.
And the things about his dad
violence.
Yeah. Right. And the things about his dad too would like stand much better chance of me caring a lot about it if I like knew what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just put somebody in a wheelchair and say they have a problem.
Yeah.
That's how we'll deal with this. The movie has this problem a lot where it hands you a thing and says, this is a serious thing. You need to take this seriously. We're not going to mention it anymore, really.
The things they expect us to care about in this film and to latch onto this film are so force-fed to us that they completely, by Act 3, disregard Jack Harlow taking prescription pills
and drinking
and owing money to a character who never appears after the first act. He's gone. So his dealer,
his last words are, "Hey, are you going to give me that money?" Basically, and he goes,
"I got you next time."
And he goes, "All right, man, stay well."
And given the original movie, it's like if you're trying to make nods to the original movie, you're going to say something about Sizzler. You're going to have someone get on someone's lap while they're driving a convertible. You're going to play all these sort of like replays. Flamethrower instead of the gun or the knife, like a gun or the blade. I get it. I understand it. But it's like, if you're going to talk about it like, okay, this guy's life gets fucked up. He's already on these prescription drugs. Now he's drinking. And then like you see him like 3 scenes later and he's like leaning up to his car like, I want to help you on basketball. What the fuck just happened? Where's all this stuff you build up to of him having a fucking
problem?
It's
me again.
Can he crash out, please? Like, can we please watch him crash out, please?
We need to see something happen. He drank some vodka at the gym. That was rock
makes
bottom. That's
what makes the first one a really great movie?
Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes and Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez doesn't come back.
Yes.
There's a real consequence to that film, and there's none in this film. The stakes couldn't be lower with how fucked up things are for these people's lives. The stakes feel low as hell.
Yeah.
And it's because Rosie Perez was like, this motherfucker betrayed my trust one too many times, and I'm out. I have a voice in this, and I can choose a new life.
Yeah, she had agency in that film.
Yeah.
You slick manipulated her. Like, you think like after you pissed her off and she basically left out to go be SZA's assistant choreographer, you take her to dinner when she come home and you want to propose to her
and propose.
You manipulative, gang. Like, really,
it's
terrible
disgusting. And based on nothing.
Red flag.
Based on nothing.
Yeah. Twitter would eat you alive if you posted about that relationship. If that TikTok made the timeline, it'd be over with.
Over.
Yeah.
They would have doxed him within 20 minutes.
Applauding that. Yeah, done. It would have been a wrap. It's so disappointing. And also there's no Jeopardy in this movie, which I think is very disappointing.
I mean, like, at least a mention of Jeopardy. That's like one of the coolest parts of the first one, is that she's like obsessed with getting on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And reads trivia books all day.
Three-dimensional character. A 3-dimensional character.
Yes.
Like, and again, I think you're absolutely right. You know, Adam, you were saying before, basically, you rattled off the names of the 5 people who did like the best in this movie. Mm-hmm. And we're just working with what they had. And the leads basically took what they had and we're just like, there's nothing else that we can do. Jack Harlow is not an experienced actor. No. So he's not able to rise to the occasion when dealing with a bad script.
I agree that he did a good job. His one dimension was well done. You know what I mean? He had the sarcastic sort of almost rude troublemaker thing. He wasn't
knows the
bad.
dynamic.
Yeah, he knew how to do it. They wrote a script that highlighted what he was good at. Unfortunately, it just isn't. It doesn't matter. It's not. It's not good enough to carry this film, which he needed to do. Somebody needed to, other than the co-stars that are pretty limited in their interactions.
No matter what, nobody could have made that script work. Nobody could have made that script work. That was not like. But I agree with you in that. I think as a Jack Harlow vehicle, which is pretty much what this is,
for sure.
They needed, like, he really needed to shine, and he didn't. Like, for the two leads to be the least charismatic on-screen presences in the film.
There it is.
Says a lot.
That's it. That's the condensed version of what we've been talking about. Is that dudes just kind of flopped.
You also feel like this is like the most un-LA shit. This movie does not give LA at all. It will cycle you around. You can go to Leimert, you can go back to Venice and tie that around, but it does not feel very LA at all. Even with the soundtrack, I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to highlight, but it just didn't give for me.
Is anybody who knows more about LA than me, do people still play street ball in LA? Because like New York, you'll see it, but it's pretty empty out on the courts.
I mean, California is like the new is to basketball. Like, I feel like a lot of the new prep stars are coming from California or going to prep school there. Like
That's true.
A lot of the best players in the pros are from there. So I feel like because you can play basketball 12 months a year there, you know.
Right. I was going to say it's because of the weather.
Yeah, you can't really do that in a lot of other places. But there were just parts of it where it was like, so I looked up the actor who got knocked out twice in this movie, once by Kamal and then the next time by
hold on, you mean the guy that we were supposed to be scared of?
Yeah,
the entire time, but just kept getting knocked the fuck out. I'm like, well, what are you scared about?
He's a
you knocked him out already.
He's a legitimately good actor. Like, he's been.
You gotta watch P-Valley. P-Valley. He's fire.
Yeah. Okay. And then he got knocked out twice. In the second time, he got knocked out by Jack Harlow. I was like, man,
with no knees.
I hope he either fired his agent after that, or his agent gets him a role in the next Expendables movie where he kills every expendable. Like, you need to.
It is fucked up how that guy was like baited into being a tough guy just to get knocked out.
Restitution.
Yeah, and Jack, and I also don't like there was a little bit too much Great White Hope energy on Jack.
But that's also
not as present in the first, in my opinion, in the original.
But that's also what Jack Harlow brings to the table. It's like, if you listen to the defensiveness on his most recent album in particular, like, I'm not surprised. There's definitely allegory here, something, because the question ultimately becomes like, why did he do this movie? It can't have been a particularly lucrative vehicle, not having any box office component to it. So just being a Hulu deal, it's going to get something for his work. They filmed this movie in like 2 months' time, not even. So like, it's not like this is like a big Hollywood production. This is actually a fairly small production they put together. So it's like, well, why did you do this? Did you really were a fan of the original film or whatever? Or did you see something in the character that you identified with? This character is this aggrieved white guy who's just trying to like, shoot for a dream that is well behind him for so many different reasons,
right?
Regardless of the fallacies that exist within that or whatever, like with the physical challenges, like the person who wrote it clearly didn't know what actually would have been a suitable ailment for this particular situation. I'm talking about is here's somebody who basically is doing really well and is obsessed with who are either keeping him from what he thinks he needs to be at, or think that he doesn't deserve to be at that point. So there's an aggrievedness to that character.
Wears his haters on his sleeve, does he?
That's the thing. So I felt like that's sort of where, I don't know enough about like Jack Harlow's private life or his personal life, but I can tell you that like this character in this movie didn't feel far off from what I'm hearing on those records.
I'm trying to find the right phrase for it. This broached Jack Harlow essentially for the first time for your boy. Okay. I have not spent any time in the Harlowverse, and it wasn't out of any, just when things are that popular, they don't really need me. You know what I mean? Like, what do I need to have an opinion on this for? You're good.
Yeah, you're very cool. We get it, Jeff.
Yeah, enjoy arguing on the internet. But I this broached it for me, and I hate I hate to be kind of a shithead about this, but it just kind of confirmed everything I thought would happen. I went into it pretty pumped because I loved the first movie so much. And I was like, even a reasonable approximation will be enough for me to recall the good times. And you know, we'll make fun of it a little bit, but you know, maybe it'll be okay. It was just so bad.
And that's the thing, is like, you know, it's not like you're remaking The Godfather. The stakes for success are significantly lower. Like, it just has to, like you said, it just has to be serviceable. And off of
did me no service
alone. Yeah. And
it truly did me no service.
It reminds me a lot of, like, now that we're talking about this, I remember reading Harry Allen's essay on 8 Mile.
Okay. Oh yeah, sure.
The unbearable whiteness of emceeing when I was in middle school or high school, and how that shifted my perspective on 8 Mile. Right. But they're very similar movies in terms of their intention and what they do. But the difference is, like we've been saying, white men can't jump. There are no stakes. The other characters are not written three-dimensionally. They're portrayed three-dimensionally by people who are skilled enough to do that. And also 8 Mile is written how people talk as opposed to how computers talk. Yeah. So
boy, I hated 8 Mile.
I don't know. I think that there's I don't know. And also, Jack Harlow was a soccer player, was like a high school soccer player.
Okay.
He looked, I mean, like his character was supposed to be very athletic and had lost a step. When they couldn't really figure out how to approximate that, I guess they did the crunching noise ACL tears over and over again. Like, you don't tear your ACL really more than once, guys. No. It's just gone after it's torn. It's just in you flapping around. Yeah. Having done that, playing basketball snapped my knee like in half and then reset it myself by accident and went to a hospital, and they were like, my doctor laughed at my x-ray in front of me. He was like, oh my God, man, you're missing everything. How did you do this?
I want to talk about stakes again for a second, because I think stakes was the big problem here.
Yeah.
That there is that you're not, because you are dealing with characters who aren't fully written through, and there's so much melodrama in this that's trying to force you to care. You don't feel like there's anything that these characters benefit from. And the truth is like, when there is an actual death in this film that we have been told has meaning, it happens at like a very bizarre time and is not able to be dealt with. It's like, no, if it, like they put it in there as a plot device, his death at the game. So
there's no bigger sin in filming than treating death, just tossing it in somewhere. I'm sorry, but it means too much to use as a plot device unless it's a horror movie. Then it's sick.
You can't have Kamal's character, so much of his life is tied up in his relationship with his father, both as a trainer, as a father, and dealing with medical situations. Like, you can't have so much of that happen and then basically treat his death like this little write-off. There's emotional weight to the death of a parent that they just like, well, you won the basketball game. If I had saw my partner out in the stands get a call, knowing what I knew, and making that face, it would not have been, I'm going to continue playing basketball today. I'm going to be like, did something happen to my dad?
Even if he wanted to go the other way with that and kind of make it seem like a resilient sort of play, you would have had to build the character and the storyline thoroughly enough to make that work. If he's like going to make the switch, like, all right, I'm out of this ball. I already know what that is. I'm going to go get it right quick and then I'll go more. You can't even do that right.
Nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It wasn't his dad, the poor stuff. Like, there was a lot of instances where we were, instead of somebody just being broke and having real conversations, we were shown stupid vignettes. Like, oh, he's got to go move his car in the middle of a pickup game to a different thing to avoid paying for parking.
Okay.
Just have him in a situation where he can't pay for it, and we will be like, oh shit, he doesn't have enough money.
But then he got the ticket though. I thought they paid that one off. I'm just saying that one.
No, but there's a ticket is the consequence, as opposed to getting your car towed or not being able to make a car payment or all these things they could have done to convey his situation other than I'm
They
gonna
just
stop.
They kept being like, "Oh, by the way, did you remember he's poor?" Like, yeah, dude, if you're broke, that's all you can think about. Trust me. Like, if you're for real broke, we don't need to see a parking ticket reaction. We'll know. I don't know. I didn't love any of the things in the background. Any of the plot points were basically like foisted upon us rather than like the first one just was so good at show don't tell. Like the way that Wesley Snipes's apartment looked.
Oh yeah.
Because he was making like illegal money and laundering it basically through buying nice shit for the apartment. But they lived in like a really rough area and got robbed and stuff. That's a beautiful way to show a person's status. They did an incredible job with that. This was just like, did you know he was poor? Did you know that one of them was black and one of them was white? Did you know they were friends? Now they're meditating together. They're friends. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
There's also the use of music in this that I think we should talk about. And I think Michael, you addressed some of this earlier in terms of some of the decisions that were made, like for the scenes in the basketball court, what songs were chose for those scenes. I'm also thinking about how in the original we have the Jimi Hendrix conversation about whether you hear Jimmy or you listen to Jimmy, and then of course the fact that the Jimi Hendrix Experience is a multiracial band, and so there's the banter there. Here they take that idea and they bring it down to, or they reform it into Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. There's no part of that is a parallel, and it just seems like they're making a thinly veiled joke about masculinity and what is or isn't if you like a pop song versus any reason why we should care about music in this. And it's like they play in this movie a song that sounds like a bootleg version of Whoop There It Is, and then 2 scenes later they pay for Whoop There It Is. Help me understand. Help me understand the music direction in this film.
Why is Sublime prominently featured and then played in this film?
We like 2
to warm us
songs
up for a basketball tournament.
We didn't even get Whoop There It Is. We got some third Woo-based song that was a parody practically of the original 2. Baffling.
You called it a Whoop-based song.
It's a Whoop-based song.
The Whoop-based song.
That is a new subgenre.
Let's go.
From here on out is going to be Whoop-based music.
I was upset. Like I know 95
Cabbages
South
changed the face of rap history.
I know about 95 South. I know about Tag Team, and then it's like, who is this third tough, party making a fake Whoop There It Is? I want to know.
Everybody got to eat.
They always had names like Big Mike and the Guys.
Well, but we did My Baby Daddy. What was that? That's B-Rock and the Biz.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like radio hosts.
Exactly. In the morning. What were your thoughts generally about the music usage in this film?
I mean, it never felt intentional. Like there was never any, it was just kind of like, oh, this would be nice to play in the background of this. Oh, this kind of vaguely, loosely matches the scene and what's happening in it. Like, oh, it was just kind of like, I remember it kicked off with the Passing Me By instrumental. Yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what? It wasn't, it's always welcome. I love that. That beat.
It felt like AI chose the song order too, that they like chose songs for each scene.
They snuck Fat Lip in there somewhere too. They stuck a Fat Lip Joan in there.
Exhibit was in there.
Yep. What you see is what you get. Yep. And then it was almost like that episode of Veep where like they're trying to put together her playlist and they're like, are these just songs from your iPod? Like that's kind of what it felt like.
There was I forget what song it was, but in one basketball scene, they're just like playing like a straight up rock song for no reason. They played Why Can't We? Which is like, what is this? Why? I think that was post exhibit too.
It was
it pre-exhibit?
Yeah, it was like in the montage where they were playing.
It felt like they were doing like sort of a 90s, early 2000s rap to like pay homage to the first movie, and then it just went off the rails. And they were like,
because one person's black and the other person's white. Don't you get it?
Fuck.
So it is.
Yeah, let that sink in.
I forgot about that. I wish they'd reminded me.
Also, on a more
You got
serious
me.
note,
Sublime.
More
Based
serious
on
than
that.
use of just the two of us.
Just the two of why?
Like
Why?
the musical
about
sins of this
father and-
film.
father and child,
Yeah,
like
if
or
it's
like
about
a parent and a
two-
child.
Why did they? And I'm sorry. Why does the credit sequence play "What's Poppin'" and not Tyler Harrow when Tyler Harrow's on the fucking court with Jack Harlow when Tyler Harrow was in the fucking Tyler Harrow video about
Excellent
Jack
question.
Harlow? It don't make
Excellent
sense.
question. Excellent question.
That's a great question.
This film has so many sins it commits, both
All
against
right,
the
so-
original and on the music front for sure.
On that note, so this is something I was just thinking about. Jack Harlow's character gets choked out
Right.
on camera
Mhm.
for calling somebody a failure. And in that case, the person who chokes him out is a black man who's wrong for doing that. And then Jack Harlow knocks a black man out toward the end of the movie, and it's supposed to be like lionizing him as some like tough guy or some sacrificial like.
Mhm.
That's the
Adam,
other-
you mean a real nigga, Adam. That's what you mean.
Hmm.
That's what the character said in the background. He's a real nigga.
That's
Oh, you
what
nigga now,
that
huh?
is. Renzo said that. You're absolutely right.
which is like,
He was knighted. The movie knighted him.
yeah, I totally forgot that was a thing, Michael. I totally forgot about
They should have
that.
gave him a pass on screen. Ben should have gave him a pass.
As
You know which pass.
He showed up. He showed up to the birthday party with a bottle of Henny.
He did. He also asked for a discount from a street artist based on being a white guy that helps the black community.
Bro, you getting taxed extra for real. I'm
That was
upcharging
real.
you.
That's something that happened.
You're supposed to pay more on Bandcamp if you're the white guy.
That's what that's what they did. They wrote that into the script. Unless he went off cuff there and they kept it for some ungodly reason. That was written and he delivered it. If nobody in the room was like, is that necessary? Why can't you just buy his girl a gift?
Your light-skinned girlfriend, Jack.
And not demean this street artist with $25 off of a piece of art. Although I do really kind of like that she didn't care for it. She wasn't a big fan.
You talking about you walking through Lamert playing ball in Lamert talking about you about to buy some property out there. No, nigga, that's the problem. One of my besties is from Lamert. We don't need more of y'all on Lamert.
Can I bring up something? I want to know if people thought it was a positive or negative in this film. I get the feeling I know the answer.
Okay.
Positive or negative, Slink Johnson,
Positive.
aka Black Jesus, comes in
Absolute
for
positive.
like a minute and 14 seconds.
So brief.
Where are you at on it?
amazing.
Thank God some LA shit happened.
A breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
A
Yeah.
gray-faced, all
I
in
laughed very hard.
Blake
I
Johnson.
laughed
He
very
was
hard.
all in. He was just like, oh, I'm only on for like 1 minute. No one will forget that minute. I'm taking this minute and I'm going all in on it.
It's like Noriega in full. It's like
What a
Noriega
performance.
in full, man.
I would have
It's like-
stayed on the set. It was, I don't even particularly think the writing's funny. I just think he's a funny dude.
So
He
good.
just came in and was a clown. It was great.
So good.
Oh man, I loved it. Okay, cool. I figured we'd all agree on that.
Yeah, I think we were all there. Yeah.
Regional
So-
manager at the Spectrum.
He was pumped too. I loved it. I loved how pumped he was. He was like, yo, it's a real job. Fuck y'all. I made it. It's beautiful. I love the energy.
Yeah. I want to finish this out with a bit of a thought experiment. I'd love to get everyone's perspective on this. So, the director of this film, Calmatic, who prior to this year was mostly known for music videos, Lil Nas X, Kendrick Lamar, has now dropped 2 movies this year that are remakes of 1990s films. He had House Party, which came out earlier this year. Jeff and I went to go see that, I think, opening week.
Opening night.
We were pretty
It was
stoned.
a
so I
Friday
think
night.
just
We
came
went
in.
opening night to the AMC on 42nd Street.
Yeah, after we'd been drinking at Margaritaville.
Correct.
And-
Well, you had. I don't drink, Gary. How
That's
dare
true. You don't drink. We were smoking.
Yeah,
in
you
front
was
of
there
Margaritaville.
allegedly at the AMC. You know what I'm saying? You don't let these people know they worry about you. You know what I'm saying? Haters
you?
everywhere.
Yeah. Now, if they know where we were 6 months ago, they'll know where we are now. That's a good.
I heard you
Exactly.
didn't pay too, but that was allegedly. That's on
Ooh,
the photo.
whoa.
Mhm, we know about that shit. We know what you did. Mhm.
Accusations.
We know what you did.
Hmm.
Allegedly.
So
Gary,
Word
we've
man.
got house party, and now there's white man can't jump.
Hmm.
So these things come in threes. as life dictates.
Don't do this.
Oh, I have to do it.
All right.
What film from the 1990s should Calmatic do next?
Juice.
Django.
Juice. From the 90s, Michael.
From the
No.
90s.
You heard what I said?
Django.
Django.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. You want to do
Wow.
Just throw a crazy curveball.
I'm laughing on
Dude.
muted niggas. I'm laughing on
Fact.
muted niggas.
No.
Last
Cliffhanger.
action hero. Last action hero.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
That's actually good.
Last
I'm gonna
action
say it. I'm
hero.
gonna say it right now. The Mask.
Hardball.
Oh,
That would be hard. That would be hard.
The
Mask.
Mask?
The Mask.
The
movie
Mask.
was-
here's the thing: rewatching The Mask is it's a real debacle.
It's horrible.
such a bad movie. It's such a bad
It's
movie.
really and it's truly unremarkably bad. Like it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
bad that you truly, what are you doing with your life? You're watching this movie.
It's,
Yeah.
You can't. Can you make it worse?
I'm not even saying about making it worse. I'm just saying like pick. He's clearly in.
That's
this
what I
mode.
mean. Like
He
this
does
might be a
reboots
win.
It's like there are all these directors out there who exist who make sequels to movies you've already heard of.
Sure.
like,
American
there's-
Sniper.
It's not-
Major League. I think that in this case, in the Mask's case, in the case for the Mask,
Okay.
is that I think it's a good win rate. House Party, already a good movie.
Yeah.
And
True.
so there's only down to go. You can't really remake it now. It's a different thing. I thought I kind of enjoyed the House Party remake.
I enjoyed it, but like
White
it's
Men
not.
Can't Jump.
It's not Reginald Hudlin. Like it's not what
no,
was
of
done.
course not. No, it's not nearly as good as, and nor should it be called House. If it was not called House Party, people would be like, "This isn't that bad."
No, I would have said it was bad. It was bad. It was bad, regardless.
I don't know. They kind of like took over LeBron James' house. Juvenile was there. I had a good time. Some rowdy teenagers were yelling behind us. It was great. I had a blast. But White Men Can't Jump, another one that's like up on a pedestal. Don't give them a pedestal movie.
Yeah.
Give
The
them the
next one.
Mask and then
Yeah.
just make it ridiculous.
I think it'd be amazing. I think you could actually.
Yeah.
I think you could pull it off. I think you have to start with a film that is not beloved, so that way
Mm.
when you remake it, we're not looking at it with the expectations of these other films. Because
How Stella
right.
got a groove back.
Oh man, he would ruin that. Let's do it.
how about Boo a Medea Halloween?
Wow.
Now we talking. We talking now. You cooking.
I'm gonna
I got ideas.
I'm
got
gonna
ideas.
I'm gonna blow y'all's minds. I'm gonna tell you right now. I really loved this movie. Here's the deal.
What-
what,
Cabbages
Boom
is-
Medea Halloween?
I haven't caught it yet. I've been waiting
That
for
shit
it.
had like a 10. Remember that 10
I'm
minute
waiting for
cutscene,
Halloween.
Gary, with the 3 characters for like 10 fucking minutes with no cuts? You remember that shit?
Why?
Go ahead, G. I'm sorry. What's the recommendation?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it specifically because we've watched a bunch of good movies in a row and we're back. Cabbages is back. People are mad. They're complaining. We're back, baby.
And I just
You're
have to
never
say-
getting another good movie again, fans. We
And
gave
I
you
just-
a taste and you'll never taste it again.
Life
It's
is
over
miserable
for
enough.
you.
We try and make y'all
It is
happy.
over for you, hoes.
Cabbages is for the masochists, you heard? And that's an internal rhyme. nigga.
Masochist
Talk about it.
Holy Club. Get out of here with your good movies. It's all trash from here on out. It's trash all the way down. Cool as ice. Coming next. Cool as ice, baby.
The last 90 seconds have rendered me speechless.
Look, when this strike is over, we about to cash out. You gonna be speechless while we getting money. That's
This
the
movie
problem.
rules, dog. Are you kidding me?
Shit. I can't
Michael,
wait to get some
gotta
SAG
do
health
both,
care,
Michael.
nigga. I can't wait.
You can't say after the conversation we just had that
Mm.
this was not the right movie to have you guys on as guests for.
They should have casted us. This is where they fucked up at. We should have started the episode with that. Like, you looking at the ones that could have did it right here. You feel me?
Yes, that's true. Hey, if you're listening, White Men Can't Jump 2025. We got it cast already. If you
We
get
gonna drop the album at the
cast,
same time too. Yes.
the rest of the
Exactly.
cast back together and a human writer, and then
Say that Ian wouldn't curate the craziest soundtrack for that shit. Our shit would be busting.
That'll give me enough time to get in shape and Michael enough time to learn how to play basketball. I
Okay.
think that those are
And get
I think
famous.
That's yep. There you go.
Did you know that you're Jewish and I'm black? Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I wonder if we
Holy
can
shit.
accentuate that point for an hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah.
when does the Kanye cameo come in?
I'd rather have a cameo than a Kanye.
I
cameo
saw
at this
the
point.
movie before Gary and was like anticipating Gary's complaints. And I was like, whenever he says, my God, this movie is bad, I'm going to guess that we have at least an hour left. Do you want to guess how much time we had left when he made the complaint?
An hour.
20 minutes.
An hour and 31 minutes. He was immediately like, this fucking sucks. And I was like, there's an hour and a half of this movie left, Gary.
So like, so 11 minutes. No, 9 minutes in. 9 minutes in.
Like 11 minutes in, yeah.
So as crazy as that is, as wild as we've been talking about it, my first comment in my notes was, I thought it was going to be awful, and it was just mediocre. So that was nice.
Okay.
So
Good movie.
I would like to shout out everybody, you know, that could be the Jack Harlows of the world, but I'd also like to shout out the niggas like me who played every sport for at least like 3 days or maybe even a whole season and got participation trophies after never making one shot, but also getting a technical foul for cussing out the ref saying he fucked up a call. That was me. I ain't cuss him out. I wasn't crazy. But like, I definitely told a nigga he needed to be fired, and he looked at my number and called a tech on me. There's hope. There's hope. I played football for 3 days. I quit because I was running too much. I'm a computer guy. My back is fucked up, but I can rap though. It's hope for all of us.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, hello, Gary.
You know, as much as I enjoyed the conversation we just had with Defprez, and it really was terrific to get their perspectives.
Oh, what a time. We had a blast.
I've sort of reached a certain limit for myself, not about the movie being bad or what have you, but I've reached a limit in terms of how much basketball I can watch on screen. As a non-basketball fan, you've suffered through what I'd like to tell you actually is like some of the worst of basketball movies. Like as far as the actual basketball action was just kind of ridiculous and not very good, to like one that actually had some really good basketball scenes in it and had pro players who did like funny spots. Yeah, that I didn't catch.
Right, because you didn't know who they were, and that's totally fine. It was like Blake Griffin and Tyler Hero in this movie. Yeah. So one was obviously much worse than the other.
Yes.
Which is why I loved it.
And which one was that, Jeff? And which one was that, Jeff?
I got to tell you, man, my favorite of the two is White Men Can't Jump, because we are back, as we reviewed earlier. But this is a stunning re-arrival into like unwatchable nonsense.
Yes.
A stunning re-arrival.
And all I ask really at the end of the day is that if we're going to go back to watching bad movies, if that is where
the trap opens up quick.
If we're back there, if we're back in hell, if this is where we're going to be. I just don't want to watch another one about basketball right now. Like, can we just do something else?
Yeah.
Like just something that's not about I'm not saying like,
but still bad.
Have a basketball, but like, yeah, if we're going to say like we're going to start watching some bad rapper movies, then just no basketball. That's really
Gary. We're recording this in the real beginnings of the throes of summer here.
Yep.
You know, it's starting to get real hot out there.
Yeah, sure.
There's really only one surefire way to beat the heat.
Oh, I'm gonna say it.
That's to get cool as ice.
He said it.
Let's watch Cool as Ice. Let's watch
Ice.
We got to get the right guests.
Yeah, we got to get the right guests. It can't just be anybody.
Right guys. Can't be anybody.
Like this was such a good episode because we had the right guests.
Cool as ice.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.